this year. Thank you all for coming out. We will begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. Alice is going to lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, review and adoption of the agenda. Look over that. If there's nothing to be added, make a motion when you're ready.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
All in favor? Thank you. Number 4, approval of minutes, March 25th, 2024, regular meeting minutes. Make a motion whenever you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, March 25th, 2024, regular meeting minutes.
All in favor? Thank you. Public comment?
Anybody signed up? Okay, nobody signed up.
Okay. Other old business, none. New business, 7A, BDI update, Alan Wood, BDI president and CEO. So come on up.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff. Really appreciate the opportunity to come and try to bring you up to date on some of the work that we have tried to accomplish over the last year. I want to start by saying that your support is greatly appreciated. Logan being on our board is there, and I hope he can keep you up to date on many of the things that we have going on. He has been very faithful. You are our vice chair, or you're the
Secretary now.
secretary treasurer. But he has been very, very supportive of us. Just a little bit of a update from the last year and some of the things that are going on. Every major building in Burke County, as far as industrial buildings go, has been backfilled. There is not a building, to my notice, that is worth trying to backfill. It's not full. Things that I really never thought would have businesses in them. Some of them I thought might have been better to bulldoze are full. And I think there have been 8 or 10 that we have actually had projects for since I've been here. That was a major undertaking. And it's sort of, if you follow these things, it sort of has to go through a process. People ask, well, what about all these vacant buildings? Well, they don't exist. So if you hear that, you can send them to me. If they've got one, I'd be happy to have it because we could probably fill it up pretty quickly. 80% of all the requests we get are for buildings. And so that means 80% of the projects we can't respond to. One thing that we have done to try to speak to that is we had a study done on a speculative building program for the county. And just as we suspected, within a 40-mile radius, there was essentially nothing. We looked at what's the proper size, what's the proper process to do this. Do you want 50,000 expandable to 100,000? Do you want 100,000 expandable to 200,000? Whichever way you go, you want to make sure that you can expand because nobody wants to be landlocked when they get built. So we do have some options there. We looked at across the county, any place that really made sense. And having the business park there pad ready, knowing that we can actually probably have a permanent pool and be grading within 90 days on that site is very, very valuable. And that was determined to be the location of which there are 4 pads left there. Have an overnight success. We've been working for 4 years to get an access road pulled off of Sundown down to the lower pad, and DOT is finally supposed to get to that for me come this summer. We'll see. Tell them if they don't hurry, my hair is going to be totally white before they get that done. It's seriously, we've been working on that since COVID, and maybe a little bit longer. So that's just the way things go. We had 2 projects that we announced this past year, 160 total jobs, about 38 million in capital investment. That brings our 5-year total to 16 projects, the announcements, a little over 1,100 jobs, and a total of $300 million of capital investment. We had 1 project that was over $100 million. I'll try to put things in perspective. 5 years ago, a $100 million project would probably have the governor in Burke County. A $100 million project now is just like, okay. For us, it's big, but for the state, it's, with everything that I'm seeing, it really is it's a whole different world. We have seen a little bit of a slowdown in the number of projects that are passing through. I did see an uptick in just the last week. We had 3 that we responded to just last week, and I've got a phone call on 1 tomorrow. So that makes me heartened that maybe it was just a slow spell and people have started to adapt. We're not seeing up to this point, I don't want to jinx this, any major layoffs. We've not seen a warning notice on anything. I think a lot of companies are handling their overage by attrition and they cut back on some overtime, but I have not seen anything, nor have any of my contacts shown that we really have faced it. Now, give us a couple more interest rate rises, and we might, but up to this point, it's still fairly steady and fairly consistent. We are still roughly like 27% manufacturing jobs in Burke County, one of the highest in the state. We're in year 3 of our Opportunity Youth Internship Program. We have 40 interns that are high school seniors that when they graduate, they'll have an 8-week internship. Last year we graduated 22 that finished the program. All 22 of those either went on to school or took a full-time job. That's what we're looking for. And of those 22, probably over half of them would not have done that were it not for this program. We really, how it works is, in our school system is a great partner. They survey every high school senior. What are your intents after high school? The ones who say, we don't know, or we're going to Western Piedmont, or, we send a letter out. And this year we sent out 525 letters. 62 of them responded, 55 of them came out, and 40 of them signed up. So that's sort of how the process goes. We actually have 6 that are looking to go into construction trades. And that's a new thing for us this year. They'll get a certificate and then they'll spend 6 weeks working with a local contractor. So we are in particular need of that. If you look at the aging of our construction workers, maintenance workers across the field, we've got to bump those numbers up. So we're really excited to have that number of 18-year-olds who are looking at talking about construction trades. Another thing that we worked on is the term opportunity youth. These are people, young adults, 18 to 24, that are either not in the labor force or not in school. We are the 3rd highest in the state of that. It was at 22%, roughly 3,000 young people. We did see a 2% decrease in that this year. We have a program that's working specifically to target these folks. We make contact with them. find out what they're doing, what their interests are, and either put them through an internship or get them in school. So this is a really long-term uphill battle. Once they get out of high school, they sort of disappear. I don't know where they are. It's hard to find them. Are they in the basement? I don't know. But slowly but surely, what we think is the opportunity, the internship program from high school, hopefully will start pulling that number down a little bit by getting these kids engaged earlier. And then on the other side, we try to find them, get them interested, and get them either in school or in a job. We're still engaged in looking at the housing situation. It's quite perplexing. We did a survey in 2018, late 2018 over 2019. At that time, it showed we needed 3,400 housing units over the next 4 years. 4 or 5. So in the face of that, we actually saw housing permits go up the last 2 years. Have been the best 2 years we probably had in the last 10. Somewhere around 400, 425 units a year. So the new housing survey comes out, and we now need 5,000 housing units. It is quite perplexing. We talked to any number of developers, and I have other friends who are helping me out, contacts that I've had for a long time. And the story pretty much is, why do we come to Burke County when we can build all we want to build in Raleigh, Charlotte, Asheville, Greensboro, and we know we're going to sell, and it's a market that's proven. Why do we come take a chance here? So it is an uphill battle. Rising interest rates, rising costs have not helped us. Houses that we saw that would have been starter homes, the folks that are in the next tier are snapping them up, driving the prices up. New houses, 1,300 square feet, $330,000, $340,000. It has priced most of our people out of the market. $330,000 home is probably going to mean you have to make $100,000 a year if you want to qualify for the mortgage at the current interest rates. So we have to find a way, whatever that is, to buy down the front end of those prices, because our folks just cannot qualify at this point in time. We need $225,000, $250,000 homes. We need rents at $800 to $1,000, $1,100, and it is, to get those numbers to work, something has to change on the front end. We continue to work on developed sites. That is a major importance to us. Excluding the large site we have under control, there's less than 400 acres of industrial zone property that is not currently utilized in the entire county. Once that's gone, unless you extend infrastructure some way, there's just not. I know one, maybe two other sites that could possibly work, smaller sites, 100 acres. But just think about it. In the entire county, I think there's 64,000 acres of land in Burke County. There's about, other than, well, even counting the Great Meadows site, you're talking about 1,400 total acres of industrial, unused industrial property in the entire county. And so that's why it's so important, because once that's gone, it's gone. You have an idea of what extending infrastructure costs to get it to a site. And we have so much of ours that is already in parks, public ownership. Roughly a third of our total acreage in the county is either in some type of park, national forest, or it's owned by the cities or public entities. So we have to be very jealous of those properties because industry if you don't have that industrial tax base, if you're not generating the jobs, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher for communities to balance their budgets. So that is one of our primary focuses now, and probably will be over the coming year. We have responded to over 40 project requests, and I've had contact with more than 50 site consultants in the last year, and I suspect that number is going to go up. Our travel schedule for the next 3 months is very, very hectic. Either hot and dry. One, sometimes both of us will be on the road, calling on consultants and pitching Burke County as a destination. So that's a quick thumbnail. I'd be happy to answer any questions for you. And once again, I do really appreciate your support.
Yeah, I hear you. So thank you very much. You covered the subject well.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, 7B, consider approval of contract with Cook's Heating and Air for a new heat pump in auditorium basement.
Yes, so staff received this request, but, it was on behalf of HHDA to replace some AC units. Bill's here to answer questions on it, maybe give you guys a little bit of an update of what's gonna cover.
There's 3 existing window units now that don't work and we can't get them serviced. They're outdated. Anyway, we're gonna take those 3 out, and this new unit is a split level unit. Mine on the outside of the building, and then it'll pipe inside to another unit inside that. Basically, almost the same as what we have on the other side of the building where the breezeway is. We already had him come and service those 3 units, and we paid it through HHDA. He came and serviced those 3, cleaned them, put them all back together, they work great. This is similar to that type unit, but he's gonna take those 3 out, and we're gonna cut a hole in the wall between the 2 rooms and put vents, basically like you see here on both sides. That 1 unit will flow through that room, to the railroad room, into the other room, and then there's enough air still left that we can open the doors, and it'll push air back into the hallway, and it's a 2-ton unit versus those 3. And plus too, the fact about the power. It'll be 1/8 of the power that those 3 units use. Easy. And no maintenance, low maintenance, if any, on these newer units. And it's a different type of Freon, so it doesn't have to work as hard to keep it as cold as it does. And the guy's real respectable, he does awesome work, super good guy, church going, family man, just a good guy all the way around. And he wouldn't steer us wrong.
Anyone have any questions?
Bill, will that also be enough power to reach the band room?
Yes, he said if we left the door open, if we left the doors open on those 2 rooms and left the unit running, there's enough air that it could feed that, go down into the music room, feed the whole hallway, and even push some air into the rooms on the other side of the hallway, which those units are working pretty good now. So, basically, like he said, you're going from a 1/2 ton to a 2-ton unit, and they're more energy efficient. Like I said, the Freon is a whole different type of Freon than the old Freon, so it doesn't have to work as hard. But he said, yeah, it'll cool that whole area. I forgot how many square foot he told me, but it's an astronomical.
All in favor? All right, thank you. 7C, consider approval of ordinances declaring road closures for 2024 town events. And this is like cruise-ins and the parade.
The DOT already approved them, we just have to do the ordinances as a paperwork.
I'm assuming the one on June 22nd is just a typo. It's just for the cruise in. It says cruise in and fireworks.
Yes, I will fix that.
All right. This didn't cost anything.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? All right, thank you. Consider approval of budget amendments to move LAPP funds to SCIF fund. Logan, you want to explain that?
Yeah, so, we had initially quoted or estimated around 520,000 on that. So we applied for an 80-20 matching grant with the Western Vermont Council of Governments through their STIP program. The problem with that project now is it's somewhere in the $800,000-900,000 range. So we discussed at one of our previous budget retreats that if we're going to move forward with the auditorium and the park, we could not pursue the sidewalk project. So at that time, council kind of discussed, and it was a consensus to move on from that project, delay it, and then use those funds towards either the auditorium or the park project. So what we had done is we'd already moved those funds from the general fund into the sidewalk fund. That fund would be canceled out. We would move these funds into the auditorium fund to go ahead and fund any additional expenditures, because the majority, the 412,000 of the 912 that we now have for the auditorium are reimbursable. So we have to front them, do the work, get the expenses back, and then send those for reimbursement. So these funds would cover that, plus a little bit more. So staff's recommendation is to go ahead and move those LAP funds into the auditorium fund, have that project funded, at least for now. And then at some point in the near future, sign a resolution to give to the Transportation Advisory Committee and the Technical Coordinating Committee a statement saying that we are returning our grant funds for the Main Avenue East Sidewalk project. We'll need a motion and a vote to approve the transfer.
I'll make that motion. Consider approval of budget amendment to move LAP funds to SCIF fund.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, consider approval of contract with DDI of Hickory for Royal Park contract.
So yeah, this is the contract for the park. Currently, the big piece of information in that is we have a July 1st, 2025 deadline for the park to be completed. That will affect some of the things you're looking at doing possibly with the events committee and your festival next year. But it's the amount that we discussed during the budget retreat. The only change that was done is that we did pull out the pavilion. And that was not in our contract with Part F, fortunately. So we did not have to get their permission. They understand the pavilion will not be built. We can do that at a later stage or the following year. But we do need a motion and vote for approval.
Make a motion to approve the contract with DDI Hickory for Royal Park contractor.
All in favor? All right, thank you. Okay, 7F facilities report. That is in your packet. I don't know if there's any comment there.
Yep, before we move on, since we are doing the park, we do still have the brick out there that we need to figure out something to do with, whether to keep it. Either way, we wanted to see what council wanted to do with because we do have the brick that's the former tower bridge.
And we had talked at one time about putting it into a pathway to use
So we
it,
can't use it, so we use it on Marvel.
maybe a pathway.
Maybe save some of it for a.
Save it, save some up for Memorial or something, put it in Memorial. Give the rest of them away, use it for back bill, whatever.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, we do have the maintenance building, so we could keep a portion of them. I don't know how many you want to keep for some type of walkway or memorial, but
I like the ones we've seen of what they've done at First School.
Yeah, they probably kept around 200-300 just as a wall piece,
Mm-hmm.
a memorial to it.
It was a reminder of the schools. But we ain't ready to get to that one. I thought it was pretty nice.
Do we wanna keep
It
maybe,
ain't up for construction, I mean, that's just like a picture of the mall.
we could keep 300 to 500? What do you wanna do with the rest? Is it just first come, first serve? Try to see if they.
I say it's one vehicle we'll have to pay to get rid of or whatever, so I say that whoever wants to come get them.
Do you wanna announce it to anybody that may want a tower brick, or, what do we wanna do with, or just first come, first serve?
I say save them on for memorial, 400 or 500, like you said. So they go ahead and announce it, whoever wants it, come get them. And then when it comes time, they'll get rid of them.
Can that be specified to a certain date, so you won't be dealing with it every day of the week?
You need to get it gone before the
That's
project
what I'm saying,
starts.
whenever it comes too late, just get rid of them. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna be.
We could give it 2 or 3 weeks for whoever wants to come get it, but yeah, you need it all gone by the 1st of June,
Okay.
that's the way it is, so.
They ain't going first again, they're gone.
I'm almost can't say, hire somebody to come get them out of here, because if we let people come in here, pick up bricks and stuff, somebody gets hurt, they're gonna be a liability for us.
So what you ended up doing last time is you had, contractors or companies that were willing to come by that needed it for backfill or whatever, and they ended up coming to get it. So if you have someone that wants to get some of it, it's a licensed contractor or a builder or whatever, I mean, is that sufficient?
Yeah, we'll get rid of them.
I think everybody that wanted one probably by now might stop more anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get rid of them for free, that's even better.
Okay, I jumped the gun on facilities report. Any questions there? It's in your packet. Okay, March tax report, that's in your packet also. Any comment on that?
Somehow they short paid us 5 cents, so they overpaid us the extra 5 cents on this check.
Boy, that counted.
Where is it?
H, March deputy report, that's in your packet. There's no comment on that. Go on to committee reports. Technical coordinating committee,
They are not meeting this month, they've canceled their meetings.
transportation advisory committee,
Cancel.
Western Piedmont Policy Board,
The annual meeting, I don't know, I wasn't able to attend. I don't know if anyone was able to go or not.
Rick was there.
thank you, Rick, for representing our town.
Rick and I were there.
Thank you.
There's something to do all the time. Burke Economic Development,
Alan just gave your update.
okay. Recreation and Tourism,
That's your report.
Water Resource Committee, vetting,
Okay, Betty met on March the 28th at the Valdez Town Hall. The financial review was conducted by Carrie, highlighting the profit and loss statement and balance sheet through February 29th. Interest income continues to rise, new loan applications continue to come into the office. The application with the USDA for the RBEG grant, which is the Rural Business Development Grant for $175,000, was submitted and accepted on time, so we'll hear back about that. The delinquent report was given by Eddie Gypsies. No, changes with payments for most of our clients. The client survey for 2024 was reviewed by the board, and there were some suggestions made for changes in the wording to clarify the questions. Motion was made by T.R. Robinson to update with the Secretary of State of North Carolina, the agent on record for vetting from the former Valdez Town Manager Seth Eckert to our attorney Jared Amos, and was seconded by Johnny Berry, and all voted in favor. Our next board meeting is Thursday, April the 25th, at the Valdez Town Hall.
Thank you. Burke County Library Board of Trustees, we didn't meet this month. Events Committee, we just met an hour ago.
Yes, and the committee would like to thank the town council for their Christmas gifts that they received today. They said thank you very much, they appreciate it.
The other big thing is for the committee's directive for this coming year for the events, mainly the parade is, we've given them their budget, but they wanted to know if there's any special directives that the town has this year for the parade, any type of extra events added.
Any suggestions for the grand marshal?
You'll be thinking about that.
Yes, we need to start in June.
George Hollowell, he's been with the fire department for 50-some years, but Brand Lingerfeld requested that we do him.
Okay,
Okay.
and like I said, we'll start planning for the parade in June. Is there anything else, Logan?
Did the committee want to do, well, the auditorium's gonna be under renovations, so there won't be any ability to have like a secondary exam like last year. No, we'll probably have a budget of roughly 4,000 and then 500 for Easter. Is there any issues? We may have to have some extra administration fees for like advertising on Facebook and stuff like that. So I think Rick has it in the budget around 6, but in terms of actually doing the parade and the functions of it, I think we were around 3,800 last year, so around 4,000 this year just for inflation. But other than that, that'll be in your budget. Any questions or comments?
Would the council like the golf cart from Rex Cloud? Is that good for next year or for this year?
It'd be nice to have something a little bit nicer, but if that's all we got, we'll use it.
Well, like what else? Any suggestions?
Well, nobody lending out cars anymore like they have in the past.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll make do. We'll walk.
Easy now.
Yeah.
I'm walking on it, I know my dog. It's okay.
All right.
Couple other things, the farmer's market. We have noticed a smaller number of vendors who are willing to come out. I don't know if council's seen the turnout the last 2 years, basically since COVID. We've got 2 or 3 that are pretty low. One. is very
1
loyal.
to 2. I mean, we'll get a new person, but they don't sell anything, so then they don't come back. So, I mean, last year it was pretty much one vendor the whole year, especially the middle to end, it was one person.
Huh.
So it's
At
like-
one time, we had several.
Yes.
Pre-COVID, you had 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I think the complaint that I repeatedly hear is the same people come every year and they only go straight to like 1, maybe 2 vendors, and they don't branch out. And so they felt like it was a waste of their time to come. Do we want to continue it for 1 vendor?
Farmers market is held
because everybody works, that's one of them.
People coming, it's just they're not branching out to buy crafts or, you know,
Fruits and vegetables, food, yeah.
yeah. And we only have one. We had another one that was really good, but I think he just kind of aged out with that. But
They gonna get what they like the money.
we can't do Saturdays because Hickory does Saturdays.
Yeah.
It's competition, so we had to pick a day that everybody else was doing. Or vendors could come because they're gonna go to Hickory as opposed to here.
Is Charlie Lingerfeld, is he one of us still coming? He aged out, I guess. Yeah. Well, how does the council feel about it?
I like to move it, keep going, because I used to try to come out here quite a bit, but as far as buying trash and stuff, and the last couple of money they used to have, so they buy food there, they buy other things,
How does the rest of y'all feel?
I'd like to see it continue, but if it just keeps dropping off and everybody shows up, I have to cancel it.
I'll try it, and if it's getting really bad, then we can cancel mid-year or something.
maybe we could, have some flyers or something, printed up and, or something, like our cruises and stuff, and pass them out to people, because maybe not everybody knows we still have them.
I put it on the digital sign, it's on our website, I do Facebook. We put the little flags out in front of town hall.
Some other business items, two things or two small announcements. This Saturday from 4 to 7, Mount Hebron is doing their spaghetti dinner. $12 a person to anybody that wants to attend at the church. And then WRAL was awarded a governor's award for nonprofit service. They are going to be recognized on May 21st at 5:30 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church in Morganton. And they would like to see as many council members as possible attend that. I think me and Wendell are probably definitely going to attend, but we wanted to see.
Yeah, we'd like for a lot of people to go.
We do have to register, so we wanted to know who else could make it.
What day was
May 21st, I believe that's a Tuesday night.
So you can, turn out, let's something out, though, you know.
Okay.
And as always, remind
Yeah, send me a message.
And is it
Don't
okay if
we
I ask
get
a
it,
couple
that's
questions?
always cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the,
Is it?
Will he call you back if you call him?
Probably not.
But I get home.
It's full, Gracie.
on the
Or
windows,
you,
on the museum on that side, are they gonna be redone when they do the auditorium? Is there talk of redoing the windows?
Yeah, I was gonna move on to the auditorium next, but any other, who was all wanting to go to do we have that scheduled? So. Okay. Yeah, well, and that's one of the things we wanted to bring up tonight is this council want to have a meeting to discuss, the auditorium in terms of, design. Have a chance to sit down and talk about it. Or do it at the budget retreat, do it sooner.
the gentleman from the Roy Hill Civic Center, it would be great if he could come.
Would it be possible to have him and Bob both?
Yeah.
We get them together.
I mean, it's possible, I can ask Squad. Yeah, I think the plan that, Bach has most recently sent you, most of the, recommendations that Jeff made are included. So if you do want to hear from him again and he's willing to come, you could. He did stop by and provided some input. One of the biggest one was, cup holders, which I mentioned, I believe, in the email was, he said if you're gonna have these big groups, number one, you need You need an entrance ramp, which we have. He would love for that to be a straight on entrance ramp, not something that someone has to turn into, but I don't know if that's feasible, at all. The second one was, cup holders, which I had mentioned to, Bach, and he's looked at, rear ones that you can add on. That does not take up any extra space in the seating that you provide, so you don't want to limit your seats. One of the things that Jeff did mention, and I think a lot of people agree with, is if the county will let you do it, not have fewer than 350 seats. They have the ability to start requiring some additional things at $299. But if we can replace as many or up to the amount we have now, 350 would be a great number. But again, that'll be dependent on the county. Having as large of a lobby as you can have. The current drawings that I emailed you and we have now, that does see an enlarged lobby. It does add 2 additional ADA unisex restrooms, one of which would need to be, would have to have space for a changing area, baby changing area. And then it would have your ticket and your restroom. Your ticket and your concession booth in the center, and then your sound booth in the center.
Yeah, if you could get Jeff to come and talk with us whenever we meet, I would like to hear what he had to say.
I can get with him and then get back to you on a day or a time.
Let's plan on discussing it, budget retreat, or whenever y'all want to.
It's up to council.
Yeah.
Do we want to shoot for the budget retreat, or is there another day you prefer?
We'll try to do it early, I would say that.
I think the earlier the better. And they don't want to hear all the budget stuff. I think we'll just have a meeting just to cover that, because Jeff's got a lot to say. When is the budget retreat?
So you're saying have a special meeting just for the design of it, or we're going to discuss rental rates and stuff like that during a budget meeting, and then just kind of budget meeting, was it 13th to 12th?
Yeah, every year we, during the budget retreat, go over all you have to pass like a,
Schedule of fees.
schedule of fees. So that'll be discussed at the budget retreat.
All right, any other business?
I have another question. When they do the auditorium, the museum's asking, can we have a set of seats, either a small set like 6 or 8? We're gonna incorporate them into the museum,
Oh, the old ones?
the old seats.
Sure.
And we're gonna make a wall in the museum for that. We think it'd be a good addition to the museum. So we don't wanna just throw them in the trash. We'd like to get a section of them if we could.
Are you sitting in on the smaller ones or the bigger ones?
Yeah, we're just basically, we're gonna put them in the hallway up against the wall and keep them folded up. But it's more or less a memorial thing than it is to use them.
Take all you want.
Historical. And then the other thing is, we have a family. They are, let me get the right name. They are the Charles Cook family. Are you familiar with them? His father was the mayor, postmaster, and shopkeeper. They say he was all around great man.
Finley was his name? Was it Finley was his name?
Well, his proper name is Charles Cook, but it's the Charles Cook family is what's asking. And the mother was a postmistress for a very long time after the husband passed away. She took it over right here in Hildebran. And the room that we have some of your stuff stored in, they said that they have enough memorabilia from Hildebran to fill that whole room alone. So the question is, if we get the storage unit over there, we can keep our stuff out. Will that part of that storage room be enough for you to take your stuff and put it over there too?
Are you talking about for like the maintenance building?
Yeah,
Would we have enough room in the maintenance building for our stuff?
For your
Oh,
stuff?
yeah, absolutely.
so we could empty that room out, and they say they have enough, and it's supposed to be really a couple 100-year-old to 200-year-old stuff that they wanna incorporate into the museum. And they'll have their own room, basically.
Yeah, as a piece to that, I'm, meeting with a fence installer this week to look at sectioning off the maintenance building. The first quote we got for that was over $10,000, just to section those 3 bays off for storage. So we're gonna see, I'm gonna meet with a couple other, see if we can get that number down significantly.
Can we paint a line? With everybody respect. Respect that.
Good luck on that one.
2x4, we got 2x4s and chicken wire.
I mean, that's a lot.
So that was a wire up.
It don't have to be a ladder, I mean, it's not really secured, it's not that we're gonna rip the wall down and move over and take your stuff, I mean, it's.
No, I think it's more the youth group that really would request,
Actually, the youth group's not needing space over there.
not yours, the
Oh,
Hildebran
okay,
Iker.
you're talking about Hildebran Iker. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Hildebran Iker Little League had requested it, and we had agreed to it at one point, but just to get quotes.
And the reason I'm asking about the windows is when we pull those 3 window units out, we're gonna figure out a way to do that. We didn't wanna pull it all apart, get carried away and put panels in there. If we could just patch it, paint it until we figure out what they're gonna do with the windows.
Are the windows, is it a glass window that'll just shut when you pull those out?
No, the hole was cut into it and then we'll have to patch it. I mean, we'll patch it and paint it blue like we do now. We painted them all blue in this last summer, just to make them look a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could fold some of that work into your auditorium project, whatever you wanna do for now.
We can do it now, we were just gonna patch it, waterproof it, so no, won't leak or nothing like that. And then we could paint them blue like we did before we had them. But I'm just saying, we don't wanna get carried away and pull all the putty out, pull the whole panel out. I mean, it could get into some expensive money for the museum versus if y'all are gonna replace them anyway. We could, just kinda
Temporary fix.
temporary, it won't be a patch, it'll look respectable, but we don't wanna get carried away and have y'all just rip them out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that would, I don't know what the best solution for that would be, just in terms of weatherproofing. There's no current discussions on the bottom of the auditorium for this project, but it would make sense if we're doing all that work too.
Yeah, it's only what, 3,
3 windows,
I think, yeah,
so it may be worth.
right. And
I
aesthetically,
think we're going to put them in, make it look, make it look like all the rest of them.
well, yeah, aesthetically, it would all look the same on that side of that building. Because you got all those up top that you're gonna do anyway. And it's come down and do those 3 on the bottom, 3 or 4. Aesthetically, it would be all,
The same.
yeah,
On the one side.
look better.
I have had people ask if we're going to sell the old seats in the auditorium because they have some people that would like to buy some from the old school members would like to buy some of those. So you might think about having a sale one Saturday or something of those.
If you wanted to have something like that, yeah, I would say the sooner, the better, especially the way we're looking at now is you would have, you could possibly get under construction sometime, in the late summer, early fall months of this year. If we move fast and we're all in agreement. But if you're wanting to do that, you might have somebody just, if they want to come in one day and just look at some seats and maybe make some recommendations on how many they want, what section, something like that. You could do that if you're looking to sell them. All the ones you don't get rid of, the company that Mike has worked with to bring in the new seat, they're willing to just remove what's there if you can get rid of them or sell them. But you would want to obviously, if there's people who want them, have those folks in there probably as soon as possible though.
How many seats does HHDA want to start with?
Probably not many, what'd you say,
I'm
10,
sorry?
5 or 10 seats?
Yeah, just like a short section, if there's a, I think up front, there's a 6 seat or
4 or 5.
yeah, and that's all we want is something small, sweet, simple, and then we'll put a little plaque on it. We don't wanna get carried away, too big of a section.
But again, you're gonna, what you're gonna do is, once you have all the work in mind, you're gonna have a bid package drawn up, and then you're gonna bid it out. So what I would do is maybe have them identify in terms of sections you're possibly willing to give away, but I would wait before you actually make any final decisions until you have some of those bids in.
Yes.
And that's another thing too, like she's saying, you could actually auction off those sections. And in a way, I mean, I've seen it in the past, you'd be shocked. People buy them and put them in barber shops, beauty salons, all kind of different venues that people will pay good money for those old seats.
Worth a lot of money.
Barber shops, I've seen a lot of barber shops do that. All kind of different venues, and they'll buy them and use them for seating, and it's a historical thing. Even these craft bars and all that, you'd be shocked how, yeah, you would post it first, and then, even if you have to auction them off, but you could probably post it first and you'd be shocked with the response.
Well, speaking of the auditorium, this coming weekend is the last weekend of the musical Peter Pan. It is Friday and Saturday at 7:30 in the evening, and the Sunday matinee at 2:30. And they would like to offer free tickets to the council and staff.
If they're a renter of it, that we, if we have any type of financial, dealings with them, they can't legally do any free tickets. I can find you the statute on that, but it's, yeah, you don't, if they're renting our auditorium, it's not good to have them. I mean, if you wanna go, how much are the tickets? $10, $20?
They're not that much.
Yeah.
You get it for $10. I'll lend it to you.
There you go. Yeah, you just, if they're not in any way financially connected, they can, because you do have some tickets that were brought to the town hall. That's actually when we looked it up. Is I think something about the mermaid, what was it? The Little Mermaid. Somebody offered council free tickets to a dress rehearsal, which they're still at town hall if you want to pick those up. But the only reason you can accept those is because they're not using your auditorium. It's somewhere else.
We're not in a contract with them like we are with Cast.
That's the difference.
Noted.
Anybody else have any announcements or anything?
Look,
Yes.
is there a
Gary.
timeline on when I can tell Jason you can go for it?
We need his certificate of insurance, but once he provides that, we can.
Okay.
As long as he's not disturbing anything upstairs or Cast is, yeah.
He said he can knock it all out within a day or two, most.
Okay.
You just need a certificate of insurance.
All right, Gary, do you have something?
The other side of the south side of the gym, I don't know if many is familiar with it. It's the old boiler room. What type of heat is that still functional? Are we using it at all?
We don't even,
Because it's a homeless shelter right now.
I think it's a little more than that.
Yeah,
I think there's some
Are you
suspicious
talking about behind the gym?
activities happening. in
where we
there.
had the gator at one time.
Yeah, or yeah.
It's 6 foot by 8 foot doors. They're wooden right now with metal frames, so I don't know if we have a maintenance man that we
It won't be
contract.
accessible much longer.
Excuse me?
It won't be accessible much longer.
Okay,
We've already approved a door quote with all glass to have that put in. They have to order the materials and we have to pay them half up front, but that's,
Be a metal door.
there you go. Yeah.
it's got a metal frame, so that'll work out good. Now, there's tanks and everything else in there. Is any of that
It's not functional.
right? But
It's
for the metal, I don't know if, the town could sell it, scrap it. There's a lot of equipment, more equipment in there. Drums, tanks, salvage.
You gotta be careful, though. A lot of people won't touch it because of the asbestos.
Okay.
I mean, it's an
It's a
idea.
very-
It needs to go sooner or later.
Even if, we can get rid of that, there's more storage space for somebody.
And it's actually a health issue too. That's that stagnant water in there. And there's oil, they put oil in there on purpose to keep the inside of the tanks from rusting. But the oil settles to the bottom and then the tank rusts out anyway. And you're actually talking, it could be a health issue as far as the stagnant water and.
Jared, do you know of any stipulations on selling that type of?
With asbestos.
I mean, I know there's some, I don't know if I'd sell it or what you're gonna have to do to update it. You could have someone come in we had a materials survey done, with a group. So we could have it looked at, they could come in and look at it and tell you what you need to do with it.
And it may not be, it may be a different material, but back then a lot of it was asbestos, but I mean, you
It's
might.
probably coated in it, I mean.
Yeah, so if it's coated too, you can get away with it. Like I said, if you don't open it, you don't scratch it. If you had linoleum tile and it was asbestos, you can cover over it. Just don't dig it up, don't create dust. So there's different stipulations you can go through to get rid of it.
I mean,
I'm thinking it's probably 1950s.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
many a house. put
We're just about to get out under an hour.
You need a motion?
Yes. Yeah,
I'll make that motion.
The council will leave that, y'all can say.
all in favor?
Oh, wait, one last thing.
Oh, no.
Planning board member, alternate, what's her name?
Cheryl Mason.
Cheryl Mason. Do we want to advertise that, or are you good to renew her? She's up for, reappointment. She's
The
on the
alternate
list.
position expires every year. So June 30th, it'll be an expiration. I did reach out to her. She said she does plan on reapplying. So we would just want to know, do you want us to or just reappoint her?
Well, she's already on there.
She's already there.
Just real
Okay.
That's it, now you can.
7:58.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, everybody's in favor, I can tell. I can read your mind.
Chad.